Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today we are going to be discussing cost of debt. In our previous class, we've done the introductory part of cost of capital. We've done the two method of evaluating cost of equity, which is CAPM and dividend valuation method, as well as the Gordon and interpolation method of evaluating growth rates. Right. So this is making it our fourth class on cost of capital. So today we are going to be discussing cost of debt, right? And when we're talking of cost of debt, we have two types, like we already explained in previous class. We have traded, and non-traded. So when talking of traded debts are those debts that can be bought, and sold, that can be traded. While non-traded debts are those that cannot be traded. So now under traded debt we have irredeemable, yes, irredeemable, oh, redeemable, then preference shares, I think convertible, yes, convertible. Then under this we have bank loan. This one we have debentures as well, or no notes. So now, like we said, irredeemable debts are debts that cannot be redeemed, right? They are not claimable. They are not claimable. They cannot be redeemed. And the formula is very straightforward. The formula is interest bracket one minus tax rate minus tax all over market value x interest. So this market value x interest is when you like after interest has been deducted, right? Yes, after interest has been deducted. So this one is the normal annual interest rate and all of that. And this one is the tax rate that is applicable. So now that we are done with that, then the next one, this one we are going to use internal rate of return, the IRR, to compute it. Where we have to look for percentage that is going to give us negative value and one that will give us positive value. Do you understand? So then, of course, preference share as well. Preference share is KP is equals to preference dividend all over market value x div. You understand? SD, that's after dividend has been deducted. So that's the formula. KP stands for cost of preference shares. Then preference dividend, of course, the preference dividend that is given in the question. Then market value SD, that's market value after dividend has been deducted. So that's the formula for that. Then we also have this one. I'm going to come back to this convertible. Why? Because it's very elaborate. Is a like I need a separate video for it. Yes. Then this one, this debentures as well. Debenture or no note is I have interest bracket one minus tax rate. That's for that. This same formula applies to this. Do you understand? It applies to this, which also interest, then one minus tax rate, one minus tax. So you can see these are the various formula. But one thing I want you to understand is that when it comes to SFM, like there are different formulas. Different textbooks have their different formulas. So please, anyone you decide to, maybe any YouTube video you decide to watch, you have to stick to that. Yes, because it might be that okay, I use this formula now. The next video you are going to watch, they might use another formula, and at the end of the day, you get confused and be like, it's not the same formula. No, they are all the same thing, but it's different. But On a normal sense, does it even make sense for you to be, using different formula? No, you just have to like stick to one. So if it's my method you are going to stick with it. If it's another YouTube channel you decide to stick with that. Instead of learning different formula, you get confused, and at the end of the day it will serve you no good. So yes, now that we are done with that, we are going to go straight with redeemable debt. This irredeemable, this is just the formula, it's straightforward, right? The major cocoa here is redeemable debt. We are going to solve redeemable debt, the preference shares, redeemable debt first of all. So now we now have redeemable debt. Right now, for us to compute our redeemable debt, of course, we need to draft our internal rate of return table. Now, for us to draft internal rate of return table, what are the ingredients? What ingredient do we need? Number one, we have the market value. Yes, market value after dividend has been paid. That's market value x div, right? Then another one we need is annual interest. Yes, what is the annual interest? Annual interest. You understand? Annual interest. Now another one is number 3. Another thing we need is tax relief on annual interest. Yes, tax relief or tax save, right? Or tax saved. Another one is number 4. We have redemption value. Remember we said that redeemable debt are usually redeemed at par. You understand? And when we say par can either be 1,000 or 100. So if the question gives you 1,000, use 1,000. But in a situation whereby the question is silent, nothing is said, you understand? That they just said at par, you can use 100 and move on, right? Except the question states 1,000. You can use 1,000. But it is usually redeemed at par, means it can either be 1,000 or 100. So another one is redemption. Yes, redemption. There are some questions that will have premium, right? Yes, there are some questions that will have premium. So that's premium. So you add it. Now this one is going to be at year zero. You understand? Then this one will be in year one. Yes, year one. It depends on how you, okay, let me draft the table so that you guys, let's move on. So okay, our question, let's solve question on this. Now it said the preference shares of YK PLC are not redeemable and have an XD market value of 40 kobo per share. That one is for preference share. That information is for preference share. Now we want to enter redeemable debt information. It said the 7% bond are redeemable at a 5% premium. So which means that this question has premium, which is 5%, and it also has interest rate, which is 7%. So now that means we've gotten our 2 ingredients. In the element that I wrote earlier, which was 5, I said interest rate, market value, So let's list out our ingredients. So we have 7% bond. That's interest of 7%, right? So now then premium of 5%. right? Another one is then say premium to their nominal value of 1,000 bond and have an S interest market value of 104.5 per bond. That's the market value. $104.5. Oh, sorry, I said the market value. The market value has to be X div. No, it's not X div. It's market value X interest. Yes, that's after interest has been deducted. So now, okay, so this is the information they gave us. So now we now want to, and the tax rate, the company tax rate, the company pay tax at the rate of 30%, right? So these are the ingredients that we need. So now for us to get our interest amount, annual interest amount, we are going to say 7% times 100 divided by 100, which is going to give us I think 7 naira. Yes, divided by 100. Yes, 7 naira. To give us 7 naira, right? Now we also come, okay, premium 5%. We now say 5% divided by 100 times 100. This will give us 5 naira. Yes, to give us 5 naira. So the market value. So now we now want to compute our tax relief. So yes, our relief. You understand, tax relief. So tax relief is going to be 30%. So 30% of okay, we now say 30% times 7, right? That's times 7. That's 2.1. 30% of this of times 7 naira to give us 2.1. That means the company had a tax relief of 2.1 naira. Do you understand? For this 7 naira, the annual interest. So this is what we need. So now we're not going to compute our table. Okay. We now want to compute our table. So the first one is year. And this question says, how many years? It says it's 7% redeemable after 6 years. After 6 years. So which means it's 6 years. So now I'm going to say, okay, year 0. So this year 0, yes. So this year 0, we're going to have items, right? Items. So this item now will not have market. So that's market value now. The another one will not have cash flow, which is 104.50. You understand? So we also have year 1. Year 1 we have 7, 6. Okay, so let's say year 1 to 6. Year 1 to 6. Yes. So our interest rate was 7. So we'll say interest, which was 7 naira. You understand? Year 1 to 6. So which means we are going to use the what is that? Okay, so now year 1 to 6. Now another thing is for us to use another thing is, okay, 1 to 6 years, the tax save. Our tax save was tax relief now. Our tax relief was 2.1, I mean relief. So 2.1. You understand? Then another one, which is okay, tax relief. So we are done with that. So the premium, or in year 6, it will be redeemed at par, which redemption, which is 100. Then premium too. Premium is also redeemed at the final year, which is year 6 as well. It will now be okay, premium, it will be 5 naira. Right. So another thing we want to do now is for us to calculate our, okay, at what percent? Let's say at 2%. Let's say at 2, that's DCF, sorry, DCF, right? At 2%. We have to look for the rate that gives us positive, and the one that is going to give us negative. Yes. So now we want to use this formula. I forgot the name of the formula. And I never would. God. Okay, 1 plus the rate, which is 0.02, all over the rate 02 raised to power n. This is supposed to be shit, man. It's supposed to be yes, n. What's wrong with you? Shit. Yes. So now we are going to say, okay, so this that's 1 minus bracket 1 plus 0.02, right? Raised to power minus 6 divided by 0.02. So get 5.6. So we're going to use, okay, this is going to be 1, and this will be 5.6. So this one too is also going to be 5.6. Then this one we are going to use the normal one because it's just for the 6 years, which is going to be 1 plus 0.02 raised to power minus 6. That's 0.89, 0.89, right? So now said our PV as present value is going to be 104.50. 7 times 5.6, 39.2. Then 2.1 times 5.6, we have, let's say 12, we approximate. So we are going to deduct it. Remember, it's tax relief. So we are going to deduct that. Then 100 times 0.890, we have 89, right? Then of course 5 times 0.89, 889, we have 4.4, or let's say 4.5 approximate. So now let's see what we have. Let's say 39.2 minus 12, which is our tax relief, plus 89. No, this tax relief is an inflow, right? Plus 89 plus 4.5. We have 120 minus 104.50. So that's 16. We have a positive value of 16.2. Yes. So now we want to compute for the one that will give us negative value. So now we are going to say, okay, DCF at 10%. Let's use 10%. So we have 1. Now we also have to use our annuity factor, our annuity formula. So now we assume it to be 10, which is 0.1, which is 0.1, 0.1, right? So now say, okay, 1 minus 1 plus 0.1 brackets raised to power minus 6 divided by 0.1. So it's going to give us 4.36, right? So 4.36, we say okay, 4.36, we say this one to 4.36. Now this one we'll do the normal computation, no longer annuity now, just for the 6 years. We say okay, 1 plus 0.1 raised to power minus 6 is going to give us 0.56, 0.56. Right, now we'll now do our PV. Our PV now is going to be 104, right? So we say okay, 7 times 4.36, we have 30.52. The next one is going to be 21 times 4.36, we have 9.16. Hope you guys understand. Then another one, redemption, we say 100 times 0.56, we have 56. And 5 times 0.56, we have 2.8. Remember, this one is what? Inflow. So we're going to deduct that. That's 30.52 minus 9.16, right? Then plus 56 plus 2.8, we have 80.16. So minus that 104.50, that's negative 24.34. That's jacket it. So this is it. Now the next we are going to do next, we use our normal existing table, which is that's interest at lower rate plus NPV at lower rate all over NPV, right? NPV at lower rate plus NPV NPV at higher rate, then higher rate minus lower rate. Right. So now we'll now say okay, lower rate, our lower rate was 2, right? Which is 0.02 plus NPV at lower rate was 16, which is 16.2. Okay, 16.2. So now NPV at lower rate. This one, the reason why I plus it is because no minus is supposed to be like negative. So negative plus negative is plus. So that's why I just did it straight. So okay, now say okay, 16 plus negative 24, 34, right? Then 10 minus 2. Okay, so now we're going to say okay, 16.2 plus 24.34, that's 40. Yes, so this gives us 40.54. Now we'll now say okay, 16 16.2 divided by 40.54, right? Then H, that's 10, that's 8 now. 10 minus 2, 8, then 0.02, that's plus. So 16.2 divided by 54, we have 0.40, we approximated. This one is times, so 8, then plus 0.02, right? So now let's say okay, this 8 we have to just divide it by 100, so to give us 0.0 something. Because of this one, there is 0.08 times 0.40, so we have 0.032 plus 0.02 plus 0.02. Okay, so this gives us 0.052. So by the time you multiply by 100 times 100, it will give us 5.2%, which means cost of debt is 5.2%. So that's the cost of debt. So we've come to the end of redeemable debt. So this is how it's being computed. First of all, you list out your ingredients in the question, you understand what you need, then after which you do your computation. So this is it. Thank you for staying with me. See you on my next one. And please kindly like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much. Bye bye.